This is Gene Sherrard. Welcome to our online-only feature, Seattle Now and Then 360. In this week's column, Suffragists in Seattle, 1916. In real life, and in the movies, proof of life is an oft-used trope in which kidnappers pose a hostage grimly holding up a newspaper's front page. This week's astonishing panorama of suffragists, unearthed by researcher Ron Edge, uses a publication to provide proof of a different sort, the life of a movement. Nearly 70 women and a handful of men lined up a century ago, with mostly stern faces that might reflect not merely the conventions of unsmiling portraiture, but also their years of struggle to secure a fundamental right of democracy. In a note on the back of the photo, they are identified only as women suffragists circa 1915. Two clues, however, provide more precision. At far right, a partially obscured sign for Wilson's Modern Business College places us at 2nd Avenue and Stewart Street. The terracotta-clad two-story building from 1914 is being replaced this year by a high-rise. The other pointer is that women are holding up 4 copies of the March 18, 1916 edition of The Suffragist, the weekly newspaper of the Congressional Union for Women's Suffrage, founded in 1913 by activist Alice Paul and published in Washington, D.C. The paper's cover depicts the suffrage opera Melinda and Her Sisters, staged as a benefit for Paul's Union at New York's Waldorf Astoria Hotel. None other than Broadway headliner and movie actress Marie Dressler, who 17 years later played the title role in Tugboat Annie, a film made in Seattle and loosely based on the life of Thea Foss, founder of Foss Maritime, played the operatic lead. The long campaign for women's suffrage, however, had not been merely an Eastern affair. By 1896, 4 Western states, Wyoming, Utah, Colorado, and Idaho, had voted to authorize the franchise. Efforts in Washington state languished until November 8, 1910, when the state's male voters overwhelmingly approved an amendment to our state constitution, giving women the right to vote here and reinvigorating the national debate. California followed suit in 1911, with Arizona, Kansas, the Alaskan Territory, Nevada, and Montana soon to follow. But hidebound eastern and southern states proved resistant, so Paul rallied her members to travel the pro-suffrage West for 6 weeks and whip up enthusiasm. Luminaries of the tour included Harriet Stanton Blatch, daughter of Elizabeth Cady Stanton, Florence Bayard Hillies, and Elizabeth Selden Rogers, speakers known throughout the country for their personality and power. In Seattle, the suffrage special tour took flight. Visiting suffragists joyrides in aeroplane, scatters tracks, bubbled a front-page Seattle Times headline. The story explained, the doctrine of votes for women reached its apex 1,400 feet above Seattle when Miss Lucy Burns flew over the city in Tara Maroney's beautiful flying yacht and scattered handbills. A prescient side note, 1 year earlier, Mahoney had taken William Boeing on his first flight, after which Boeing told his partner George Westerfeld, "There isn't much to that machine of Maroney's. I think we could build a better one." The women's Seattle tour stop did not disappoint. A crowd of 1,500 packed the Moore Theater on May 1st for rousing female oratory. Proclaimed Selden Rogers, "The force of women is needed in the land for peace, strength, and righteousness." The next morning, the envoys gathered for a boisterous pep rally at the University of Washington, where they were welcomed to Meany Hall by Henry Suzzallo, UW president. In the afternoon, a downtown luncheon took place at the new Washington Hotel, now the Joseph Finham Apartments. Our now group photo was staged just around the corner. By 1920, requisite states had ratified the 19th Amendment, granting women the right to vote, though many women of color remained disenfranchised even after the passage, legally or because of discriminatory practices. In 1923, Alice Paul became the first drafter of the Equal Rights Amendment. The fate of the latter might well lie in the wisdom and spirit embodied in our now photo. For our repeat photo, we were joined by a sizable contingent representing the League of Women Voters. You may also recognize U.S. Representative Pramila Jayapal, Seattle Mayor Jenny Durkin, Seattle City Council members Sally Bagshaw, Lorena Gonzalez, Lisa Herbold, Deborah Juarez, Teresa Mosqueda, and Kshama Sawant, among many others. For a full list of participants, visit pauldorpat.com.